The shuttle doors opened with a soft hiss. Yuna stepped onto the platform and looked around. The station was huge, bigger than anything she had ever seen. The walls curved upward and disappeared into bright lights above. Hundreds of beings moved through the wide hallways. Most of them were not human. Yuna adjusted the strap of her duffel bag on her shoulder. The uniform they gave her was a little loose. She was smaller than average, even for a human. But she had passed all the tests. She had earned her place here at the Galactic Coalition Military Academy. A tall creature walked past her. It had blue skin that seemed to glow from inside. It had 4 arms and eyes that looked like pearls. Yuna tried not to stare. She had seen videos and pictures during her preparation classes on Earth, but seeing aliens in person was different. It was real. New arrivals, follow the yellow line, a voice said from speakers in the ceiling. Yuna looked down. A glowing yellow line appeared on the floor. She followed it with a group of other beings. Some were tall. Some were short. One looked like it was made of rocks. Another one floated in the air inside a bubble of water. They walked for 10 minutes through the station. Yuna noticed other beings stopping to look at her. Some whispered to each other. She knew why. Humans were new to the coalition. Earth had only joined 15 years ago. There were not many humans in space yet. She was one of only 3 humans accepted into this training class. The yellow line led them to a massive room. It looked like an auditorium, but much larger. Thousands of seats faced a central platform. Yuna found a seat near the middle. A girl sat down next to her. She was human too. She had short black hair and looked tired from the journey. "I'm Hannah," the girl said quietly. "Yuna," she replied. They nodded at each other. It felt good to see another human face. More beings filled the room. Yuna tried to guess what species they were. The big one with gray stone-like skin was probably a Gren. The slender one with too many joints in its arms might be a Talvex. The insect-looking creature with 6 legs was definitely a Kree. She had studied them all. A loud voice filled the room. "Attention, cadets." Everyone went quiet. A massive figure walked onto the central platform. It stood at least 7 feet tall. It had copper-colored scales and 4 arms. Its eyes were golden and sharp. This was a Vrone. Yuna recognized the species from her studies. "I am Instructor Koros," the being said. His voice was deep and clear. "You are here because your worlds believe you have potential. You come from 200 different planets. Some of you come from worlds with light gravity. Some from heavy gravity. Some from water worlds. Some from ice worlds. Each of you brings different strengths." Koros walked back and forth on the platform. His forearms moved as he talked. "In this academy, you will learn to work together. You will learn combat. You will learn tactics. You will learn discipline. Most importantly, you will learn that the coalition is stronger because we are different." Yuna listened carefully. She noticed that Koros did not mention anything about Earth being a death world. She had learned that term during her application process. Earth was classified as a Class 12 death world. It meant Earth was one of the most dangerous planets in known space. High gravity, extreme weather, deadly animals, diseases that could kill most alien species in days. But humans grew up there. They were made for it. "You will now be assigned to your training squads," Koros continued. "These will be your teammates for the next year. Learn from each other. Support each other. Dismissed." The screen behind Koros showed lists of names and squad numbers. Yuna searched for her name. There it was. Training Squad 7. She memorized the meeting location and stood up. "I'm in Squad 7 too," Hannah said beside her. They walked together to the assigned room. It was smaller than the auditorium, but still large. 6 other beings were already there. Yuna and Hannah made 8 total. A slender being with translucent blue skin stepped forward. "I am Vix. I am from Solaria." Her voice sounded like music. "I am Thrak," a huge being with gray rocky skin said. He was definitely a Duran. He was at least 8 feet tall, and his shoulders were incredibly wide. "Pelin," said the insect creature. It clicked its mandibles together. Its compound eyes reflected light in strange ways. One by one, they introduced themselves. There was Darl, a furry being with big ears. There was Celine, who had green skin and 3 eyes. There was Court, who wore a special suit filled with liquid. Then, a tall, lean being with pale yellow skin stepped forward. He had long arms and legs. His fingers were thin and delicate. "I am Ravik," he said. His voice was smooth, but there was something sharp in his tone. "I am Talvex. We are known throughout the Coalition for our speed and skill in combat." He looked directly at Yuna and Hannah. "I see we have the soft-skinned primates with us. I hope you can keep up." The room went quiet. Yuna felt her jaw tighten, but she said nothing. She just looked back at Ravik calmly. Hannah stayed quiet too. Vix, the blue-skinned Solarian, made a small gesture with her hand. "We are all cadets here. We should respect each other." Ravik smiled, but it did not look friendly. "Of course. I simply want to make sure our human friends know what they are facing. This is not easy training." "We know," Yuna said. Her voice was steady. "We did not come here for easy." Ravik studied her for a moment. Then he turned away and sat down. The rest of the meeting was about schedules and rules. They would wake at 0600 hours every day. Physical training started at 0630. Classes on tactics and coalition history filled the afternoons. Evenings were for study and personal time. When the meeting ended, everyone left to find their sleeping quarters. The squad shared a common area with individual sleeping rooms branching off. Yuna found her room. It was small but clean. A bed, a desk, a locker for her things. A small window showed the stars outside. She unpacked her bag. She did not have much. Some clothes. A few pictures from home. A small rock from the beach where she used to run every morning. She put it on the desk. Hannah knocked on her open door. "Your room looks like mine," she said. "Probably all the same," Yuna replied. Hannah leaned against the doorframe. "That Ravik seems like he will be trouble." Yuna nodded. "Maybe, but we just need to do our job. Train hard, learn, show them that humans belong here." "Why did you join?" Hannah asked. Yun looked at the rock on her desk. "Because I want to see what is out here. And I want to prove that Earth is not just some dangerous backwater planet. We have something to offer." "Me too," Hannah said. She smiled a little. "Though I am a bit scared." "Me too," Yuna admitted. They talked for a few more minutes. Then Hannah went to her own room. Yuna sat on her bed and looked out the window. Somewhere out there was Earth, home. It was millions of miles away now. She lay down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow would be the first day of real training. Physical conditioning. Combat assessment. She had trained her whole life for this. Running on the beach. Martial arts classes. Strength training. She was ready, but a small part of her wondered what it would be like. Training with beings from other worlds. Beings who had never seen Earth. Who did not know what it meant to come from a place where everything tried to kill you. She fell asleep thinking about home, about the ocean, about the sun on her face, about the weight of Earth's gravity that she had carried her whole life without even knowing it was heavier than most places in the galaxy. Tomorrow, she would start to show them what a human could do. The alarm sounded at 0600 hours. Yuna was already awake. She had been up for 10 minutes, sitting on her bed and preparing herself mentally. Old habits from her morning runs on Earth. She got dressed in the training uniform and stepped into the common area. Hana was there too, looking more awake than yesterday. Throck was eating something that looked like rocks. Vix was doing some kind of stretching exercise that made her body bend in impossible ways. The others came out one by one. Radek arrived last. He looked perfect. His uniform was crisp, and his long limbs moved with careful precision. He nodded to everyone but did not speak. They walked together to Training Hall Delta. The hall was enormous. The floor was covered in thick padding. One side had climbing walls and obstacle courses. The other side had fighting rings marked with glowing lines. Punching dummies stood in rows near the back. Instructor Koros was already there. His forearms were crossed as he watched the cadets enter. Other squads came in too. Soon there were nearly 100 beings in the hall. All shapes and sizes. All from different worlds. Today we begin physical assessment, Koros announced. His voice carried across the entire hall. I need to understand what each of you can do. We will start with hand-to-hand combat demonstrations. Each of you will show me your species' natural fighting style. Then we will learn coalition standard techniques together. He pointed to one of the fighting rings. Squad 7, you will go first. Yuna's stomach tightened a little. First squad to demonstrate. She watched as Throck stepped into the ring. Show me how a Gren fights, Koros said. Throck moved to the center. Despite his size, he was not slow. He demonstrated powerful strikes with his fists. His stance was wide and stable. When he grabbed the practice dummy, his grip left dents in the reinforced material. He threw the dummy across the ring. It crashed against the padding hard. Good, Koros said. Gren are known for raw power and immovability. Next. Vix entered the ring. Her movements were completely different. She flowed like water. Her strikes were quick and light. She spun and twisted, her body moving in ways that seemed to have no bones. When she hit the dummy, she struck the same spot 5 times in 2 seconds. Each hit was precise. Solarian combat style emphasizes speed and accuracy, Koros explained to the watching cadets. Next, Palin scuttled into the ring on 6 legs. The Kree fighting style was chaotic to watch. Palin attacked from multiple angles at once. High strikes, low strikes, all mixed together. The dummy rocked back and forth under the assault. One by one, the squad members demonstrated. Each was different. Each was impressive in their own way. Then Koros pointed at Yuna. Human, your turn. Yuna walked into the ring. She could feel everyone watching. The humans were a curiosity. Most species here had heard rumors about Earth, but had never met a human before. She stood in the center and took a breath. Show me what humans do, Koros said. Yuna began with a basic form. She had trained in Taekwondo since she was 6 years old. Her kicks were sharp and controlled. High kick, side kick, spinning back kick. Then she switched to Muay Thai, elbow strikes, knee strikes. She moved to the dummy and demonstrated combinations. Jab, cross, hook, low kick. The dummy rocked on its base. Hard. The sound echoed through the hall. She finished and stepped back. The hall was quiet for a moment. Yuna noticed several cadets looking at each other. The dummy was designed to withstand strikes from most species. It was not supposed to move that much. Interesting, Koros said. His golden eyes studied her. Humans use their entire body as a weapon. Efficient. Next. Hannah went next and showed similar techniques. When she kicked the dummy, it rocked again. More whispers spread through the watching cadets. After Squad 7 finished, other squads took their turns. Yuna watched them all. She was learning. Every species had advantages. The realm were balanced and strong. The quilax were incredibly flexible. The Dreen had natural armor that made them hard to hurt, but she noticed something. Many of them were fast or strong or tough. Few were all three at once. The morning continued with basic drills. Koros taught them coalition standard fighting stances. Everyone practiced together. Yuna found herself next to Ravik at one point. He looked at her as they practiced blocks and counters. "You move well for your size," Ravik said. It could have been a compliment, but his tone made it sound like an insult. "Thank you," Yuna said simply. She did not take the bait. They practiced partner drills. Yuna worked with Vix first. The Solarian was gentle and precise. Everything was controlled. Then she worked with Throck. The Gren was powerful but careful. He knew his own strength and held back. Then Koros told them to switch partners again. Yuna found herself facing Ravik. "Let us see if the rumors about Deathworlders are true," Ravik said quietly. Only Yuna heard him. They began the drill. It was simple. One person attacks slowly, the other defends and counters. Back and forth. Ravik moved with impressive speed. His long arms gave him reach. But Yuna's training had prepared her for this. She defended well and countered when it was her turn. Ravik increased his speed slightly. Not enough for Koros to notice, but enough to make it harder. Yuna adjusted. She had sparred with faster opponents before. "You are quicker than you look," Ravik admitted. But there was frustration in his voice. "You are too," Yuna replied. The drill ended. Koros called for a water break. Yuna went to get a drink. Hannah joined her. "That Ravik is pushing boundaries," Hannah said quietly. "I know," Yuna said. "He wants to prove something. Be careful." "I will." After the break, Koros announced the next exercise. "Tomorrow we will work on grappling and ground techniques. Today, we finish with light sparring. Controlled contact only. The goal is to learn, not to hurt each other." He started pairing people up. He was thoughtful about it, matching size and strength when possible. But before he could assign Yuna a partner, Ravik stepped forward. "Instructor Koros, I volunteer to spar with the human," Ravik said. His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. To help her understand coalition standards. Koros looked at Ravik for a long moment. Then he looked at Yuna. "Is this acceptable to you, Cadet Yuna?" Yuna nodded. "Yes, instructor." "Very well. Controlled contact. Light strikes only. Begin." They entered the ring. Other pairs began sparring around the hall, but many kept glancing at their ring. The human versus the Talvex. It was interesting. Ravik moved first. He was fast. Very fast. His strike came at Yuna's shoulder. She blocked it. He spun and came from another angle. She blocked again. He was testing her defenses. Yuna countered with a low kick. Ravik dodged easily. They circled each other. Ravik's confidence was growing. Yuna could see it in his posture. He came at her with a combination. 3 quick strikes. Yuna defended all of them, but she had to move back. Ravik smiled. He had her retreating, but Yuna was not retreating in panic. She was creating space, finding her range. She countered with a jab that stopped just before Ravik's face. Then a body shot that pulled just before contact. Following the rules. Not bad, Ravik said. But he was getting frustrated. He expected to dominate more clearly. Yuna was too defensive. Too controlled. He increased his speed again. His strikes started coming closer to actual contact. Not quite breaking the rules, but pushing the limit. Koros noticed and was watching more carefully now. Ravik circled Yuna, talking loud enough for others to hear. These Deathworld rumors must be exaggerated. You move like anyone else. Nothing special. Yuna did not respond. She kept her guard up and her eyes focused. The sparring session continued for 5 more minutes. Ravik was clearly faster. His reach advantage was real, but he could not land a clean hit. Yuna's defense was too tight. Every time he thought he had an opening, she closed it. Finally, Koros called time. All pairs, stop. Ravik and Yuna separated. They both bowed slightly, following coalition custom. But Ravik's eyes were hard. He was not satisfied. As they left the ring, Ravik walked close to Yuna. He spoke quietly so only she could hear. Tomorrow is grappling training. Let us see how you do when speed is not enough. When I get my hands on you, we will see how strong a human really is. Yuna looked at him calmly. Tomorrow then. The rest of the day was classes. History of the coalition. Alien cultures. Politics. Yuna tried to focus, but her mind kept going back to Ravik. He was determined to prove something. To show that humans were not special. That Earth's dangerous reputation was just talk. Tomorrow would be different. Grappling was closer combat. More strength-based. More dangerous. That evening, Yuna did extra exercises in her room. Push-ups, core work, stretching. She thought about her training. Back on Earth, her instructor's words came back to her. Technique beats strength. But strength with technique is unbeatable. She looked at the rock from her beach. From Earth. From a world with gravity stronger than most places in the galaxy. From a world that bred its children to survive anything. Yuna lay in bed that night and thought about tomorrow. She did not want to hurt anyone. She came here to learn and to represent humanity well. But if Ravik pushed too far, she would have to defend herself properly. She hoped it would not come to that, but something told her it would. The morning air in training hall Delta felt heavy. Yuna stood with her squad as instructor Koros explained the day's training. Grappling. Close quarters combat. What to do when weapons were not available and the enemy was right in front of you. Grappling is about control, Koros said. His forearms demonstrated as he spoke. You want to control your opponent's movement. Control their balance. Control their limbs. When you control these things, you control the fight. He showed them basic holds. How to grip properly. How to use leverage instead of pure strength. How to escape when someone grabbed you. The cadets watched carefully and then practiced with each other. Yuna was paired with Vix first. The Solarian was gentle and focused on learning the techniques correctly. They practiced wrist escapes and basic takedowns. Everything was slow and controlled. Exactly how training should be. After 15 minutes, Koros told them to switch partners. Yuna found herself with Throk next. The huge Gren was incredibly strong, but he was also very aware of it. He moved carefully, making sure not to hurt anyone. They practiced and Yuna learned how to work with someone much larger than herself. Around the hall, other pairs were doing the same. Some were struggling. Some were learning quickly. It was normal training. Then Koros called for another partner switch. Before Yuna could move, Ravik appeared in front of her. I believe it is our turn, he said. His smile was polite, but his eyes were not. Yuna nodded. They faced each other on the mat. Begin with the wrist escape drill, Koros announced to the hall. Partner 1 grabs the wrist. Partner 2 escapes using proper technique. Slow and controlled. Ravik grabbed Yuna's wrist. His grip was firm, but not excessive. Yuna performed the escape technique. Rotate, pull, break the grip at his thumb. It worked smoothly. Now switch, Koros said. Yuna grabbed Ravik's wrist. He escaped easily with his speed. They continued the drill. Back and forth. Everything seemed normal, but Yuna noticed something. Each time revived her, his grip got a little tighter, a little harder. He was testing her, seeing how much she could take. Other cadets finished their rounds and switched partners. But when Yuna started to move to a new partner, Ravik spoke up. Instructor Koros, may I continue with Cadet Yuna? I want to make sure I understand the technique fully. Koros looked at them. He seemed to consider it. Then he nodded. Continue. But remember, controlled training only. Of course, instructor, Ravik said. They continued drilling. Now they worked on arm controls and holds. Ravik's movements got sharper, more aggressive. Still within the bounds of training, but barely. Yuna stayed calm. She had dealt with aggressive training partners before. The key was not to match their energy. Stay technical. Stay controlled. But Ravik was getting frustrated. Yuna could see it in his face. Every time he tried to dominate a position, she defended well. Every time he tried to force a technique, she used proper form to counter it. He had the speed advantage, but she had better technique. They moved to practicing upper body holds. One person would grab. The other would escape. Kara's was on the other side of the hall helping another squad. Most instructors were busy with their own groups. Let us try the wrist escape again, Ravik said. But this time, make it realistic. Use real strength. Yuna hesitated. The drill is meant to be slow. Are you afraid? Ravik asked quietly. Do you think you cannot handle it? Yuna looked at him. She knew what he was doing. Trying to provoke her. Trying to make her react emotionally instead of technically. I can handle it, she said calmly. But training is supposed to be safe for everyone. I will be safe, Ravik said. Trust me. Yuna knew she should refuse. Should call Koros over. The part of her wanted to see what would happen. Wanted to show Ravik that his assumptions about humans were wrong. Fine, she said. Wrist escape. You grab, I escape. Ravik grabbed her wrist. This time, his grip was strong. Really strong. Stronger than any training grip should be. Yuna felt the pressure on her bones. For most species in the coalition, this grip would cause immediate pain. Yuna performed the escape technique. She rotated her arm and pulled. But Ravik held on tighter. He was not letting go. You need to escape properly, he said loud enough for nearby cadets to hear. This is what a real fight feels like. Yuna tried the technique again. Ravik squeezed harder. His fingers dug into her wrist. She could feel him trying to hurt her, trying to make her give up or cry out, but her wrist did not break, did not bruise. Human bones were dense, much denser than Talvek's bones. Earth's high gravity had made sure of that dot, while Yuna looked at Ravik calmly. You should let go now. Make me, he said. Then he grabbed her upper arm with his other hand. A controlling hold. He clamped down hard, trying to lock her in place. Trying to prove she could not break a real grip. Several nearby cadets stopped training to watch. This was not normal drilling anymore. Yuna's mind went calm. Cold. She had been in this position before in training. When someone grabbed you with real intent. When they were trying to hurt you. Her instructors on Earth had prepared her for this. She did not try to break his grip by pulling away. That was what he expected. Instead, she stepped forward, into his space. Her free hand came up fast, grabbing his elbow. Her body turned, her hips loaded, and she applied the technique. It was a basic armbar. A fundamental technique taught in many martial arts on Earth. Simple leverage. Simple physics. She controlled his wrist, controlled his elbow, and extended the joint past its natural range. For a human, this would hurt. They would tap out. The training partner would release immediately. But Ravik was not human. His Talvek's bones and joints were designed for speed and flexibility, not strength. They were lighter, more delicate, built for a world with less gravity and no large predators. When Yuna applied the technique, Ravik tried to jerk his arm free. He used his speed, trying to pull away with force. It was the worst thing he could have done. The sound was sharp and clear, like a branch snapping. Crack! Ravik screamed. A high, terrible sound. His arm bent at an angle that was completely wrong. The elbow joint had dislocated. The bone had fractured. His arm hung useless. Yuna released immediately. She stepped back, her hands up. Horror crossed her face. "Instructor Koros!" She shouted. The entire hall went silent. Every cadet stopped training. All eyes turned to their mat. Ravik collapsed to his knees, clutching his ruined arm with his other hand. He was making sounds of pain. Tears ran down his face. His arm was already swelling. Koros ran over. His forearms moved quickly, checking Ravik's injury without touching it. His golden eyes were sharp and assessing. "Medical team to Training Hall Delta," he said into his communicator. "Serious injury. Possible fracture and dislocation." 2 other instructors came over. They helped Ravik lay down on his back. They supported his injured arm carefully. Ravik was in shock now, breathing fast and shallow. The medical team arrived in less than 2 minutes. They had a floating stretcher and medical equipment. They carefully moved Ravik onto the stretcher, immobilizing his arm. He moaned in pain as they worked. Before they took him away, Ravik looked at Yuna. His eyes were filled with pain, but also something else. Realization, understanding, fear. They carried him out of the hall. The sound of the stretcher's anti-gravity field hummed and then faded. The hall was completely silent. Nearly 100 cadets stood frozen. Everyone was looking at Yuna. She stood on the mat alone. Her hands were shaking now. She had not meant to hurt him that badly. She had used a basic technique, something she had done thousands of times in training. But Ravik's body could not handle what a human body was designed to withstand. Instructor Koros turned to face her. His expression was unreadable. "Cadet Yuna," he said. His voice was calm but firm. "What happened?" Yuna's mouth was dry. "He grabbed me, instructor. Hard. Harder than training should be. He would not let go. I used a standard escape technique." "Did you intend to injure him?" "No, instructor. Never." Koros looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked at the other cadets who had been nearby. "Did anyone else see what happened?" Vix stepped forward. "I saw some of it, instructor." Ravik was gripping her very hard. It looked painful. She tried to escape normally first. Throck nodded. "Ravik has been aggressive with the human cadets. I noticed it yesterday too." Koros nodded slowly. He looked around at all the watching cadets. They were scared now, looking at Yuna like she was something dangerous. "Training is suspended for today," Koros announced. "Everyone return to your quarters. Squad 7, stay here." The other squads left quickly. Whispers spread as they went. Yuna heard fragments of sentences. "Broke his arm like nothing. Deathworlder strength. Dangerous." When only Squad 7 remained, Koros looked at each of them. His golden eyes settled on Yuna. "I watched the recording from the hall cameras," he said. Yuna had not realized they were being recorded. Ravik escalated beyond training parameters. He applied excessive force. "You defended yourself with appropriate technique." He paused. However, the result was more severe than expected. "I am sorry, instructor," Yuna said. Her voice was quiet. "I did not know it would hurt him so badly. On Earth, that technique just makes someone tap out." "On Earth," Koros repeated. He seemed to be thinking about something. "Cadet Yuna, report to my office in 1 hour. The rest of you are dismissed." Instructor Koros's office was simple. A desk made of dark metal. A chair designed for his 4-armed body. Screens on the walls showing data and images. Commendations and medals from his military service hung in neat rows. The room smelled faintly of something Yuna could not identify. Something alien. Kara sat behind his desk. His golden eyes watched her as she stood at attention. The silence stretched for what felt like forever. Yuna kept her eyes forward and her hands at her sides. She tried to keep her breathing steady. Finally, Koro spoke. "At ease, cadet." Yuna relaxed slightly, but remained standing straight. Koros tapped his desk, and a holoscreen appeared in the air between them. It showed the training hall from above. Yuna could see herself and Ravik on the mat. She watched the whole thing play out again in fast motion. Ravik grabbing her. The grip getting tighter. Him grabbing her arm. Then her response. The technique. The sound. She looked away when Ravik fell. "I have watched this 17 times now," Koro said. His voice was calm, not angry. "I wanted to be absolutely certain of what I saw." Yuna said nothing. She waited. Ravik increased his grip strength beyond acceptable training parameters, Koros continued. He attempted to force a submission through pain. He ignored all protocols. He paused. "Your response was a textbook defensive technique. Proper form. Appropriate to the threat level." Yuna felt a tiny bit of relief, but she still felt terrible about hurting Ravik. "However," Karo said, and the relief vanished. "The result was far more severe than I anticipated. A broken bone. A dislocated joint. Ravik will need surgery and several weeks of recovery." "I am deeply sorry, instructor," Yuna said. Her voice was tight with emotion. "I never wanted to hurt him like that." Koros leaned back in his chair. All 4 of his arms folded across his chest. "Tell me, Cadet Yuna, have you ever broken someone's arm before?" "No, instructor, never. But you have practiced that technique thousands of times, yes?" "Yes, instructor. Since I was 12 years old." "And what happened when you practiced it on Earth? With human training partners?" Yuna thought back to her dojo, to all the times she had drilled arm bars and joint locks. They would tap out, instructor. Hit the mat with their free hand. That is the signal to stop. Then I would release immediately. Sometimes it would hurt a little, but never anything serious. Koros nodded slowly. "And if someone did not tap out? If they tried to force their way out?" "My instructor always said that was dangerous. That resisting a joint lock could cause injury. But it never happened in my training. Everyone knew to tap." "And you assumed," Kara said carefully, "that Ravik's body would respond the same way a human body responds." Yuna's stomach sank. She understood now. "Yes, instructor. I did not realize his bones were so different." Koro stood and walked around his desk. He was huge, towering over Yuna, but his posture was not threatening. He seemed to be thinking deeply about something. "I should have anticipated this," he said. "When I read Earth File, I saw the classification. Class 12 Deathworld. I read the statistics, the gravity, the atmospheric pressure, the dangerous fauna, but I did not truly understand what it meant." He gestured to the screen, and it changed. Now it showed a rotating image of Earth, blue oceans, green and brown land, white clouds. It looked beautiful. "To you, this is home," Koro said. "To most beings in the Coalition, this planet would kill them within days. The gravity alone would crush many species' internal organs. The diseases would overwhelm immune systems that never evolved to fight them. The predators would hunt anything that moved." New data appeared next to Earth's image. Numbers and charts. "I looked at these numbers intellectually," Koros continued, "but I did not understand them viscerally. Not until today." He pointed at one chart. Average human bone density is 140% of galactic standard. Muscle fiber tensile strength is 167% of standard. Your bodies are built to survive on a world that is actively trying to kill you. Yuna listened quietly. She had never thought about it this way before. Karos changed the screen again. Now it showed an image of a Talvex world. The planet looked gentle. Light colors. Soft atmosphere. This is Talvex Prime. Ravik's home world. Gravity is 0.6 standard. No large predators. Mild climate. Abundant food. The Talvex evolved for speed and dexterity, not strength. Their bones are light. Their joints are flexible. They are beautiful and graceful. He looked at Yuna. But they are fragile compared to you. What is a basic training technique for a human is a bone-breaking attack for a Talvex. The weight of this realization settled on Yuna. She had been training with people whose bodies were fundamentally weaker than hers. Not because they were inferior, just because they came from kinder worlds. I am responsible for this, Karo said. Yuna looked up in surprise. I am the instructor. I should have understood the physical differences better. I should have created different protocols for human cadets from the beginning. But instructor, I am the one who... Koros held up one of his hands. You defended yourself appropriately. Ravik created this situation through his own arrogance and aggression. But I failed to prevent the situation by not educating all cadets about Deathworlder physiology. He returned to his desk and sat down. Here is what will happen now. First, you are not being punished. The review board has already cleared you of any wrongdoing based on the video evidence. Relief flooded through Yuna. Second, we are implementing new training protocols. Human cadets will attend special sessions on force moderation. You will learn how to adjust your strength when working with beings from lighter gravity worlds. It is a skill you must develop. Yuna nodded. That made sense. Third, all non-human cadets will attend educational sessions about Deathworld species. They need to understand what it means. They need to respect it, not fear it or mock it. What about Ravik? Yuna asked quietly. Koros tapped his desk again. A medical report appeared. He will make a full recovery. The surgery was successful. He will be in medical care for 3 weeks. Then physical therapy for another month. He paused. He has also sent you a message. A message? Karos opened it and read aloud. Cadet Yuna, I was arrogant and aggressive. I pushed you beyond training protocols. You responded with appropriate force and with mercy. I could tell you held back. A full application of that technique would have destroyed my arm entirely. You pulled it at the last moment. Thank you for your restraint. I apologize for my conduct. When I return, I hope we can train together properly. Ravik, Yuna felt tears in her eyes. She had been so worried that she had made an enemy, that she had ruined everything. He understands now, Karo said gently, what it means to come from a death world. What kind of strength humans carry without even thinking about it. He looked at her seriously. But understand this, Cadet Yuna. You and the other humans here carry a great responsibility. You are stronger than most beings you will meet. More durable. More dangerous. You must learn control. You must learn when to use that strength and when to hold back. I understand, instructor. Do you? Koros leaned forward. Let me tell you something about Deathworlders. There are only 14 known Deathworlds in the Coalition. Species from these worlds are rare, and they are feared. Not because they are evil, but because they are so much more capable of violence than most others. He pulled up another image. A large bear-like creature with thick fur and massive claws. This is a Koroth. They come from a Class 10 death world. Beautiful people. Gentle by nature. But in the early days of their contact with the Coalition, there were incidents. misunderstandings, Koroth, who did not know their own strength compared to others. It created fear, prejudice. It took decades for them to be fully accepted. Are you saying humans will face the same thing? I am saying that you are ambassadors. Every human in the coalition right now is shaping how your entire species will be perceived for generations. If you are careful, respectful, and controlled, humans will be valued as strong allies. If you are reckless or aggressive, humans will be seen as dangerous threats. The weight of this responsibility pressed down on Yuna. She had come here just wanting to prove herself, to learn, to explore. She had not realized she was representing all of humanity. I can see this weighs on you, Koro said. His voice was gentler now. That is good. It means you understand the importance. But do not let it crush you. You are still young, still learning. That is why you are here. He stood and walked to the window. Outside, stars stretched into infinity. I have trained thousands of cadets from hundreds of worlds. Each brings something unique. The realm brings balance and adaptability. The Solarians bring grace and precision. The Gren bring endurance and stability. He turned back to Yuna. And humans bring the strength forged in one of the harshest environments in known space. That strength is not something to be ashamed of. It is something to be respected and used wisely. Thank you, instructor, Yuna said. She felt better now. Still guilty about Ravik, but better. You are dismissed, cadet. Take the rest of the day to rest. Training resumes tomorrow. And Yuna? He looked at her with something that might have been respect. You showed good control today. You could have hurt Ravik much worse. That speaks well of your character. Yuna saluted and left the office. The hallway outside felt different now, lighter. She walked back to her quarters with her head up. 3 weeks passed. The academy felt different now. Word of the incident had spread through all the training squads. At first, cadets avoided the humans. They gave Yuna and Hana extra space in the hallways. They partnered with others during drills. But slowly, things changed. The new protocols that Instructor Koros implemented started to work. Human cadets attended special training sessions 3 times a week. They learned about alien physiology. Which species had fragile bones? Which ones had weak joints? Which ones could barely handle being touched by human strength grips? They practiced control, grabbing practice dummies with 10% strength, then 25%. Then 50%. Learning to feel the difference. Learning to adjust automatically. Yuna discovered she had been using only about 60% of her actual strength in most training. She had been holding back without even knowing it. Now she learned to hold back even more when needed. The non-human cadets had their own sessions. They watched videos about Earth, saw footage of human athletes running, jumping, fighting. Saw what gravity did to water. Saw Earth's predators hunting. Many of them were shocked. One Solarian cadet fainted when she saw a video of a great white shark. Your oceans have monsters, Vic said to Yuna after one of these sessions. Her translucent blue skin seemed paler than usual. How do you swim? Carefully, Yuna said with a small smile. But most sharks do not attack humans. We are not their normal food. Most? Vix looked horrified. You mean some do? Yuna tried to explain that shark attacks were rare. But to someone from a world with peaceful, tiny fish, the idea of any predator in the water was terrifying. Throck, on the other hand, was fascinated. The Big Gren came from a heavy gravity world too, though not as extreme as Earth. Your planet made you creative, he told Yuna one day during training. My people became strong and stubborn, but humans became clever and adaptable. You had to be. Everything was trying to eat you. It was not that bad, Yuna said. There are videos of your children playing near animals that could kill them, Throck said. On my world, that would be considered insane. On Earth, it is normal. Yuna had never thought about it that way. Training continued. Hand-to-hand combat. Weapons training. Tactics classes. Squad 7 worked together more smoothly now. They understood each other better. Vix's speed and precision combined well with Yuna's strength and endurance. Throck provided stability and power. Pellin's multi-angle attacks created chaos that others could exploit. They were becoming a real team. Then, on a quiet morning, Ravik returned. Yuna was in the training hall running warm-up exercises when she saw him enter. He walked slowly, his arm in a support brace. The injury had healed, but he was still rebuilding strength. Other cadets noticed him and stopped to stare. Ravik walked directly to where Yuna was stretching. She stood up, unsure what to say. "Cadet Yuna," Ravik said formally. He extended his good hand in the coalition greeting gesture. Yuna took his hand carefully. Very carefully. "Cadet Ravik, welcome back. How is your arm?" "Healing well. The doctors say I will have full function in another month." He looked at her seriously. "I owe you an apology. A real one, face to face. I was arrogant. I underestimated you because of my own prejudice. I paid the price for that. But more importantly, I could have gotten you in serious trouble because of my behavior." "I accept your apology," Yuna said. "I am sorry I hurt you so badly." "You showed mercy," Ravik said. The medical team explained what happened. "You began to apply the technique, felt the resistance in my joint, and released pressure immediately. If you had continued for even half a second more, my arm would have been permanently damaged. You saved my career." Yuna had not known that. The memory of that moment was blurry in her mind. Other cadets had gathered around to watch this interaction. Yuna saw Hana and the rest of Squad 7 standing nearby. Ravik turned to address everyone. "Let me say this publicly. I was wrong about humans. I thought the Deathworld reputation was exaggerated. I thought you were just normal beings with good marketing." He looked back at Yuna. "I was foolish. Humans are strong in ways most of us cannot imagine. But that strength comes with wisdom. With control. Yuna could have crippled me, but chose not to. That is the real strength." There was silence in the hall. Then Throck started a slow clap. Others joined in. It was not loud or dramatic, but it was sincere. From that day forward, Ravik became an unexpected ally. He trained with the human cadets sometimes, learning from them. He also helped other cadets understand how to work with humans safely. His experience, painful as it was, became a teaching tool. The weeks turned into months. Squad 7 faced their midterm evaluation, a 3-day field exercise on a simulated hostile world. The simulation was based on a Class 9 death world. Not as extreme as Earth, but still dangerous by galactic standards. The squad was dropped into rough terrain. Jagged rocks, steep slopes, temperature swings from freezing at night to scorching during the day. They had limited supplies and objectives to complete while avoiding enemy forces. For most of the squad, it was brutal. Vix struggled with the temperature changes. Her body was designed for stable, warm environments. Pellin's exoskeleton cracked in the cold nights. Even Throck, strong as he was, found the terrain exhausting. But for Yuna and Hana, something strange happened. The harsh environment felt almost familiar. Not comfortable, but manageable. The temperature swings were less extreme than some places on Earth. The terrain was rough, but no worse than mountain hiking. The thin air at high altitude was similar to Earth's higher elevations. They took point during the dangerous sections. When the squad had to cross a cliff face, Yuna went first, testing handholds that could support human weight and therefore could definitely support lighter species. When they faced simulated predators, Yuna's combat reflexes were faster than the others. But what surprised everyone most was something else. When Vix started to suffer from the cold, Yuna wrapped her in her own jacket and shared body heat. Human bodies ran hot compared to most species. Yuna's natural temperature was like a heater for Vix. When Pellin's exoskeleton cracked, Hannah used materials from the environment to create a field repair. She had learned wilderness survival as a child on Earth. Making tools from nothing was a basic skill. When the squad ran low on food, Yuna and Hannah identified which local plants were safe to eat. They had learned to test unfamiliar plants carefully, a skill most species never needed because their worlds had no dangerous flora. The humans pushed themselves to exhaustion, making sure the team completed the mission together. They carried extra weight. They took the night watch shifts so others could sleep in the warmth of day. They scouted ahead into dangerous areas. Squad 7 completed all their objectives and returned to base. They ranked in the top 15% of all squads. When Instructor Koros reviewed their performance, he made a point that resonated with everyone. Strength is not just about how hard you can hit, he told the gathered squads. It is about how you use your abilities to lift others up. Squad 7 succeeded because they understood this. The humans could have completed this mission alone, faster and easier. Instead, they used their advantages to help their entire team succeed. That is what the coalition needs. That is what makes a good soldier. Later that evening, Squad 7 sat together in their common area. They were exhausted but happy. They had passed a major test. "I never want to do that again," Vic said. She was wrapped in 3 blankets and drinking something hot. "It was not so bad," Throck said. "But even he looked tired." "Easy for you to say," Pellin clicked. "Your bones did not crack." Yuna and Hannah exchanged glances. They were tired too, but in a different way. The exercise had been challenging but not impossible. "Can I ask something?" Vix said to Yuna. "Did that exercise feel hard to you? I mean really hard?" Yuna considered the question carefully. She did not want to sound arrogant. "It was difficult," she said honestly. "But I have done harder training on Earth. The environment was rough, but not the roughest I have experienced." "That is terrifying," Vic said. But she was smiling a little. "You make the impossible look normal." "It is not impossible," Hannah said. "It is just different. Each of us has different strengths. You are faster than any human, Vix. Your precision is incredible. Pellin can see in spectrums we cannot. Throck can outlast us in sustained heavy work. We all bring something unique." Ravik, who had been cleared to join them for social time, nodded. "I have been thinking about this. About Deathworlds and what they create. I used to think my speed was the ultimate advantage. But I understand now that evolution shapes us all differently. Humans got strength, durability, and adaptability because Earth demanded it. Talvex got speed and grace because our world allowed it. Neither is better. Just different." Spoken like someone who learned a hard lesson, Throck rumbled. But his tone was gentle, almost teasing. Ravik touched his healing arm. "Very hard, but valuable." They talked late into the evening, sharing stories about their home worlds, laughing about training mishaps, planning for future exercises. The bonds between them had grown strong. Months continued to pass. More training, more missions, more lessons learned. Yuna grew as a soldier and as a person. She learned control. She learned when to use her strength and when to hold back. She learned that being strong meant being responsible.